You might think California Democrats would get tough on crime, even with all the looting, the vandalism, the arson, assaults on cops during the LA riots, but apparently they plan to do the opposite and now let killers walk free.
Yeah, this is really shocking. So Newsmax crime correspondent Jason Matera has the very latest on this. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mark and Charlotte. So there's another reminder, more proof that when progressives talk about criminal justice reform, what they really mean is cutting loose violent convicts, even those once sentenced to life behind bars.
The so-called Youth Rehabilitation and Opportunity Act, SB 672, just cleared the California State Senate and is now in the Assembly, where supporters are plotting their next move. The bill would clear a pathway for certain convicted killers to seek parole after 25 years if they were under 26 at the time of the crime. In other words, convicts once sentenced to life could soon be back on the streets, free to terrorize the community all over again.
It's unfair, and it's, again, a push on the Democrats, led by this governor, to soften the penalty for crime, coddle criminals, and ignore the condition of victims.
Critics say the timing is no coincidence, alleging that elected Democrats are trying to Menendez brothers the entire state. The infamous siblings who gunned down their parents in 1989 were recently resentenced and are now parole eligible. And if that resentencing hadn't happened, this bill would have cracked the door open anyway, giving them and others like them a shot at freedom that was never supposed to exist.
And so now to re-look at these crimes, 20, 25 years later, is really a disservice to the victims.
State Senate Minority Leader Brian Jones says this isn't about justice. It's about politics. He's calling the legislation a get-out-of-jail card for some 1,600 inmates who could qualify if it becomes law, and says he's not holding his breath that Gavin Newsom will choose public safety over progressive pandering.
The governor's track record speaks for itself. If this bill passes and he signs it, it's one more piece of evidence in his resume that he doesn't care about victims, he doesn't care about keeping the public safe, and he only cares about coddling criminals.
Mark, Charlotte, just a reminder that life sentences aren't handed out lightly. Therefore, crime so brutal, so depraved, a judge says the offender is beyond rehabilitation and that justice demands they die behind bars. But if this bill passes, life without parole is automatically off the table.
I mean, Jason, of course, this doesn't surprise me. It's the People's Republic of California. So, but what are we hearing from the opponents? What are the supporters actually saying? Why?
Yes, great question, Mark. So supporters say that a person's brain isn't fully developed until they're 26 years old. So an individual younger than that may not have the impulse control or the judgment to stop them from committing a violent crime. So apparently, when you blow out that 26 candle, you fully realize that murder is wrong.
It's so ridiculous. Yeah, you took a life. But now you get to walk free, still in yours. Okay.
Okay.
Interesting. Thanks.
Sure.
Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
And Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass, well, they were also suggesting that LA was under control. They had it covered while, of course, LA was essentially burning. And they've been blaming Donald Trump for all the chaos in LA, while Gavin Newsom has been trying to emerge as the strong leader of the Democrats as he eyes off the presidency in 3 years' time. But actor Mel Gibson has spoken out, blasting the governor and the mayor, rightfully so, for their disastrous leadership.
Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence and poor leadership during the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, as we experience rampant lawlessness and civil unrest, it's never been more clear they're unable to respond effectively and responsibly during calamity. Whether it's sheer incompetence or outright malevolence, the reality is stark. California's in a state of turmoil, and I ask my fellow Angelenos, why are Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass still in office? How much more of their destructive decision-making masquerading as leadership are we going to tolerate?
I wonder where he filmed that, because he wasn't in his own house, because his house burned down. This is personal with Mel, and it should be personal to everybody in Los Angeles. I lived there for decades. I would be furious with Gavin Newsom. And he comes out on TV and he just does his weird hand motions. And Donald Trump is making things worse. And Donald Trump is doing this like he's doing the hand jive from a 1950s musical. It's not going to cut it. And good for Mel for standing up for everybody in Southern California.
Absolutely, and for so many of those residents in LA that lost their homes, that experienced the catastrophic wildfires earlier in the year, and then they're seeing more chaos in LA, and Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass just blame Trump for it. I think a lot of people can see through it, and it'll be interesting when the next election is held.
Big city Dems are going socialist in liberal New York City. AOC and Bernie-backed Zoran Mamdani, a proud Democratic socialist, is surging, leading Andrew Cuomo for the first time, but it's just in one poll. And this, of course, is in the New York City mayoral race. Now, among Zoran's biggest socialist promises are freezing the rent, city-run grocery stores, and social workers to replace the police.
Freezing your rent as the next mayor of New York City. And as mayor, I will create a network of city-owned grocery stores. I'll make childcare available to all New Yorkers at no cost.
Greg, what could go wrong? I think I'm all in for Zoran.
I am too. I would love to see social workers instead of cops, instead of handcuffs and pepper spray. They could bring pictures of their cats and their Dave Matthews CDs. That'll do it. I feel like the Democrat Party is on a kamikaze mission. Instead of, if the party's going to go down, we're going to take the whole ship with us. The remaining sane Democrats, if there are any, Jessica, you got to weigh the cost of sticking with these social justice suicide bombers, because nobody wants this. It used to be cities were actually an actual sanctuary where you married commerce with security, safety in numbers, you could do business. It wasn't like the Wild West. Now it's worse than the Wild West. It's a magnet for mayhem. Sanctuary cities did that, where the worst behavior is rewarded and decent people live in terror. They don't even take public transportation. The left love to say, this is worse than 9/11, whether it's January 6th or Trump's reelection. I'm telling you, man, the Democrats under Bill de Blasio managed to do to New York City what al-Qaeda never could do, which is destroy our will to fight and destroy our will to live. If this guy even gets close to being elected, dude, you're going to see this. You're going to see this go to hell.
Well, the good news with Greg's analysis is Mr. Zoran is only ahead in one poll. Cuomo, the guy they chased out of the party, is ahead by double digits basically everywhere.
You said it last segment. I've been trying to save New York City for years, but if they don't want to be saved, then screw them. I left. Everybody else is sitting here. You thought they hit rock bottom with de Blasio. How much worse can it get?
It's like Daniel Penny.
Sure.
Same analogy. It saves all these people's lives in the subway, and they charge him with murder.
Right. So they're just going to keep voting for dummies. And what? The rent keeps raising. Crime keeps going up. You can't drive anywhere here. There's migrants. Biden ejected about 1 million of them. And they're even considering voting for this guy. There's a famous quote, which I'm about to butcher, that says that normal people learn from their own mistakes and wise people learn from other people's mistakes. You'd think the Democrats in this city would look at San Francisco and say, I don't want to be them. But they're sitting here about to become San Francisco.
Disservice. Doing that favors no one and only does a disservice to the community. Not holding breath. I'm not holding my breath that they will fix the problem anytime soon. Pandering. Politicians are just pandering to voters without real solutions. Depraved. The criminal showed a depraved disregard for human life. Beyond rehabilitation. The court ruled that the offender was beyond rehabilitation. Disastrous. The policy had disastrous effects on the economy. Rampant. Crime has become rampant in the city lately. Calamity. The flood was a major calamity for the region. Sane. We need to listen to the sane voices in this debate. Mayhem. The The protest turned into mayhem after the police intervened. Butcher. He completely butchered the presentation and lost the client.
If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date with future videos. Thank you for watching.